What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Hammer Dance YouTube channel. So you guys have been asking me a lot for specific videos, and one of the videos that you've been asking me for is a Streamlabs OBS setup video, streaming settings, not recording. We can make a separate video when it comes to recording settings, but what this video is going to focus on is the best settings to start streaming with Streamlabs OBS. Now, I use OBS myself, but Streamlabs OBS, I have used it in the past, and it is a little bit easier to get into, especially if you are new to streaming and just getting into it. It's a little more user-friendly, so figuring things out in there is going to be a lot easier. So without further ado, guys, let's jump in and learn how to stream with Streamlabs OBS. Okay guys, so what we're gonna do is open up the settings, go down each tab, and have everything filled out by the end. You should be ready to hit that go live button and start streaming. So let's go. So right here, down here at the left side, bottom of your Streamlabs desktop application, you're gonna have your settings wheel. You're gonna open that up. Right now we're in the general tab. So nothing super important here in the general tab. One thing I do want to note though is that if you did use OBS in the past and you have some graphics and things that you want to import from there, you can import that right here using this OBS import button. Scrolling down though, there is nothing important here that you need to worry about. Only use this if you're trying to import from OBS. Next tab over here, we have the Stream tab. So in the Stream tab, this is where it's a little bit different than OBS. You can do this in OBS, but it's a little bit more intuitive in Streamlabs OBS. So basically, if you want streaming on YouTube, you're going to hit connect right here next to YouTube, log into your YouTube account, and then boom, it's connected to your YouTube. No problem. You don't have to go find your stream key, none of that. Same goes for Facebook, Trovo, or Twitch. You're just going to hit the connect button, log into your account. It's going to ask you to authorize the app to use it, and then you'll be connected and you won't have to like input your stream key or any of the stuff that you used to have to do in the past. So it's pretty good. Next, we're going to hit up the output tab. So this is where we start doing some stuff, right? So when you first open this, you're probably going to be on the simple view up here. If you look at the output mode, you're going to want to change that to advanced for me. So under the streaming tab here, scrolling down, the main thing that's very important right here, obviously your audio track, you can input however many audio tracks you are using. You're going to want to use that number. For your encoder, this is where you're going to choose what encoder you're using to encode your stream. So for me, I use an NVIDIA graphics card. I use a 3080 Ti, so I'm using the NVIDIA encoder, which is the hardware NVENC new encoder. So if you're using an NVIDIA GPU, I would suggest using this. If not, you can go with the software encoder, which is X264, which uses your CPU's processing power to encode. So if you have a good CPU, I would say maybe an i5 or better, or like a beefy, like trillion core AMD CPU, you should be fine with that as well. No, like one of the standard, I would say the AMD equivalent to an i5 would be fine to use your X264 encoder if you want to use your CPU. But I'm using an NVIDIA GPU, so I'm using the NVENC new encoder right here. Rate control, we're going to keep that on CBR, and a good bit rate to stream at if you're trying to do 1080 at 30 frames per second or even 60 is stick around 6K. You don't really want to go much higher than that because your viewers will get some buffering and have a hard time loading your stream. So stick around 6K, that should be good. Keyframe interval, we want to set that to 2. Preset, you can mess around with this. I have it set to max quality and it's not affecting my FPS or my performance in any games. But if you do start getting some frame drop and things like that, you can always drop it down to quality or performance, max performance, kind of test it out, you know, and see how it goes for you. Profile, you want to set that to high. Look ahead, we want that checked. Psycho-visual tuning, we want it checked. GPU set to 0, and max B frames, set that to 2. Okay, jumping over to the audio tab. Right here at the sample rate, we want that to be 44.1. Channels, we want it to be on stereo. And right here is where you would select all your audio devices, right? So for your microphone, you would select your microphone in the drop down here. For your headset, you'd put that here. If you're using a Go XLR, that is the reason why I have just one that I would be using to select, which would be my broadcast stream mix right there. So basically the Go XLR takes my audio from everything, mixes it down, and outputs it to one stream mix, which is this right here. But if you do not have a Go XLR, you want to select your microphone under microphone or auxiliary device. And under desktop audio device, you want to select your headset or your speakers or whatever you're using to listen to the audio of your streams. Now let's jump down to the video tab right here. So this is another important thing. So our base canvas resolution, this is going to be what you're gaming at, what you see when you're looking at your screen, right? So I'm using a 240 Hertz 1080p display. So I have mine set to 1920 by 1080. If you're using a 2K display or a 4K display, make sure you set that accordingly. Your output scaled resolution, this right here, is what your stream is going to be output at, right? So if I am playing games in 1080, but I wanted to stream in 720p, I would just use a custom one and I would change this to 1280 by 720 and hit apply. And now my stream would be output in 720p. It's a little bit, if you have a little bit lower end of a machine, it's definitely a better move to stream at 720 rather than 1080. There is a loss, right? But very few people actually watch streams in full screen. So streaming in 720 or even 960p, it really doesn't hurt you at all. And to be honest, your viewers will probably get a clearer experience, especially if you're playing fast-paced, like games with a lot of movement. It'll be clearer probably on 720. So your downscale filter, we want this set to Lanczos, which is the third option down here. You can always mess with this if you're getting, some FPS drops in game. You can go down to bicubic or bilinear. Common FPS values. If you want to stream at 60 FPS, you're going to select 60 FPS. If you want to do 30, you could select 30. But I wouldn't choose anything in between. I would go with either 30 or 60. Keep in mind 30 is good too. You don't have to stream at 60 FPS. 30 is good. I mean, all the TV that you watch and all that kind of stuff, it's all 30 FPS. So keep that in mind. Or 24 and 30 FPS. But I would stream in 30, and if you can afford to bump it up to 60, go for it, but it is not a deal breaker and you do not need to do it. Jumping down to the next tab here, we have hotkeys. So I use an Elgato Stream Deck basically as my hotkeys to like change my scenes or add stream markers, start recording, play replays, things like that. But if you don't have an Elgato Stream Deck, you can use this hotkeys section right here to bind specific keybinds on your keyboard to do functions within Streamlabs OBS. So if you wanted to bind a key to start streaming and you wanted it to be the page down key, you would just click in here and hit page down, and then the key would be recorded as a keybind for that. So every time you hit page down, it'll start streaming. Simple as that. I wouldn't bind a start streaming key simply because you can accidentally go live and, bad things can happen when you do that. Moving down to the advanced tab right here. General process priority. This is how your system prioritizes resources for Streamlabs OBS. I would keep this on normal and don't really ever go above normal or below normal. You want your system to prioritize resources for Streamlabs OBS in like a normal fashion. You don't want it dedicating more resources to OBS than it should, because then you'll start really dropping frames in whatever game it is that you're playing. Video, we want color format NV12s, YUV color space 709, and our color range set to full. You want to force the GPU as your render device. Audio monitoring device, you can audio monitor if you want to. You don't have to do that. And everything else down in here is not necessary for getting your stream up and running. However, there's one setting in here that you may want to enable if you don't have it already, which is automatically reconnect. I have that enabled. Basically, if you're like dropping internet or like lagging out and things like that, it'll automatically keep trying to reconnect your stream, and your viewers will get like a nice, like a little video that pops up and tells them what is happening, so they're not completely blind and have no clue what's going on. Scene collections, this is if you wanted to import some overlay files and stuff like that, but it's not necessary in order to get this up and running. We can make more advanced videos as we go along, but this video, is just to get you guys up and running with streaming. Notifications, you could completely skip this tab. You do not need to know anything here. Appearance, this is like the theme of your Streamlabs OBS. You can change it to whatever you want right here. I'm a big fan of dark mode. If anyone who watches my videos, you know that. You can change which side the chat is docked on. So if you click this right here and enable it, your chat will pop up on the left side of your Streamlabs OBS. If you don't, it's going to be on the right side, and you can change the text size right here. So basically that is it, guys. That's all the settings you guys should need to basically get ready to start streaming. You should be able to have those settings input in here and be able to go live with no problem. Now I'm gonna make some more videos in the future on this. I've focused mainly on OBS because that's what I've used for years and I know it inside and out, but I did mess around with Streamlabs a bit and you know, I went over it again before I made this video so that I can figure some things out and be able to help you guys out. So we'll make some more videos. We'll do one on some good recording settings. If you want to record with Streamlabs OBS, we'll do one on how to make scenes and add sources and things like that. So if you guys did enjoy this video, hit that like button. It really does help me out, and subscribe to the channel. Turn on those post notifications so you don't miss next time I post a video. And if you want to hang out with me live, I stream at twitch.tv/hammerdance 5 nights a week at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So anyways, guys, that's all from me. I want you to keep those hammers up, and I'll see you next time.